Hello everyone, this is for section 10.3 for pre-calc. It's on hyperbolas. So there you go, hyperbolas. The equation is very similar to that for an ellipse. With an ellipse, this is a plus, and the order of A and B, the choice of A and B switch. Now, I'll talk more about that and what you need to worry about in a minute, but I don't want you guys to be too worried about. There's a simple way to remember this and a simple way to interpret it. So let me go back. How to find C also changes. For an ellipse, it was C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. For a hyperbola, this is, okay, let me make this connection. For an ellipse, this was plus, that was minus. For a hyperbola, this is minus, and let me get the pen, this is plus. So these things are opposite in sign. When it's minus, it's a plus. When it's plus, this is minus. Okay? Easy enough to remember. All right, the center is found, so this point right there is found just like you've been finding all the other stuff. You read them opposite, so the center is HK. The foci is going to be C units away from the center. Now, which way is it opening? How do you find that? Well, whatever the square root of this number is associated with the x. So this distance here is A. This distance over here is A. This distance here is B because it's associated with the y. And likewise here, this distance is B. To remember which way, so remember on a hyperbola, we used to graph them, say you had an asymptote here and an asymptote there, and your hyperbola was hanging out here and then say here. All right? The hyperbola is in two pieces. How to remember which way it's going and where the asymptotes are is you find this box. I'll show you how to find the box by using the values of A and B. Then you draw the diagonals of the box. That forms your asymptotes. All right? Which way it opens is controlled by, is it x that comes first or y that comes first? If x comes first, it's opening in the x direction. So that will mean this is your vertex and this is your vertex, and your hyperbola is going to hug the asymptote, come along and head out. So there's one piece of it. Then this is going to be the other piece. It's going to hug it, go through the vertex, and head out. So these 2 points are your vertices. Now your foci are going to be somewhere in the direction they open. So this is going to be a focus and this is going to be a focus. And because you're adding these two things together, then that makes the distance to the focus, in other words the value is C, larger than A. So that distance is going to be C. And that distance is C. That one was alright, this one's pretty lame. Alright. If it opens, so the foci, they're going to be in the x direction, so it's H plus and minus C, K. And for the vertices, they're going to be H plus and minus A, K. Alright. So for here, the center is going to be HK, just like it was in the other one. Now this one, because y comes first, it's going to be opening in the y direction, so this is going to be your foci. But notice the A is coming first, the A is paired with it. So your vertices are going to be H, K, plus and minus A, because this distance, whoops, I'm supposed to be straight, this distance is A, because it's associated with the y. This distance is the B, because it's associated with the x. Okay. The foci are going to be somewhere out here and somewhere out here, and that distance is C. So it's H, K, plus and minus C. Because the y is coming first, as I mentioned, it has to hug the asymptote, come along, oops, it wasn't meaning to cross it, and head out, hug the asymptote, go through the vertex, and head out along that asymptote. Okay? Now, to make sense of that for you and do it, I believe it's the last two here. Yep. Look at it on the sheet to make sure I'm not doing it wrong. All right. The The center is 1, negative 2. The foci, well, we got to find the value of c. So let's see. So c squared is a squared plus b squared. So c squared is 4 plus 1. So c is equal to square root of 5. Okay, and the square root of 5, taking that in, I thought I had it done ahead of time. I didn't. I apologize. So square root of 5 is about 2 1/4. So that's about 2 1/4. Whoops, I'll do the decimal now, 2 1/4. Now to find these, let me draw the thing out. The center is 1, negative 2, so there's the center. And you're going to go 2 units in the x, 2 units back in the x, 1 unit, so I'm square rooting these numbers, 1 unit in the y, 1 unit in the y. This forms a box. And the diagonals of this box are your asymptotes. Okay? Now, which way is it opening? It's opening in the x direction because the x comes first. So that makes this point and this point your vertices. And it's opening in the x direction. So there's one piece. Here's the other. Goes through the vertex. Heads back out. And try not to draw it like a V. Try and make a curve. I got a little pointy there, but it's okay. I'll blame it on the pen. All right. So that means your foci have to be somewhere out here and somewhere out here in a straight line of the vertices in the center. So to find those values, all you have to do is add C to the vertex. So the vertices are going to be 2 units right, so it's going to be 3, negative 2, and 2 units left, negative 1, negative 2. Then I have to go C units from the center. I may have misspoke just a bit ago, but it's C units from the center. So 2 1/4 units each way. So 1, 2 1/4, so it's really tight right in there, and 1, 2 1/4, so it's really tight right in there. Those are the foci. If you get their coordinates, so I'm going to go from the center, a square root of 5 each way. 1 plus or minus the square root of 5, negative 2. There's going to be the foci. Okay? So on this one, it hasn't moved anywhere left to right. So the center is right there at the origin. So the center is 0, 0. The vertices, well, let's find them. I'm going to go 5 units in the y direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 9 units in the x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now that, like I told you before, is going to define a box. So this box isn't actually a part of your answer, so that's why I'm dashing it. All right, that's why I'm trying to make it. I can't draw a light. Whoa, is that wiggly? I either haven't had enough caffeine or had too much. And then the diagonals of this thing are going to be your asymptotes. I don't know which is easier for my hand to do. I think it's easier to go this way. Okay. All right. So those are going to be your asymptotes. Which way is it opening? It's opening in the y direction because the y comes first. So I have to hug this asymptote, go through the vertex, and head out hugging that asymptote. Okay, so there's an upper half, and whoops. Let me get rid of this. This is kind of bad. So that's going to be the vertex. It's going to come along, go through the vertex, and then head out along that asymptote. Okay? So that means your foci are somewhere up here and somewhere down here. They have to be inside the hyperbola. So your vertices here are C units, 5 units up or down from the center. So they're going to be 0, 5, and 0, it's a paren, negative 5. Your foci, a squared plus b squared is c squared. So 25 plus 81 is 106 is c squared. So the square root of that, it's going to be square root of 106 up and down. So 0 plus or minus square root of 106. Now, how do you place that on your graph? Well, you go ahead and get a decimal. That's about 10.3. So 10.3 units up, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.3. And negative 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, negative 0.3. So there's your foci. Okay? That's it.